Today is my opportunity to give you the chance to tell people why you follow Royal Ministry. I think it's important for the people to understand what this ministry is about, and who better to explain what it has done for them than people that have been following my ministry. So this will be off the cuff, and it's going to be live, and we're just going to chit chat and talk and let everything flow the way it is. So I want you to introduce yourself. First of all, we have the husband here. What's your name, sir?
My name's Jason Nadi. That's my spiritual name. That's what I like to go by.
Okay, all right. And ma'am?
And I'm his wife. My spiritual name is Urabella.
Okay, now you guys, you're involved in the arts, and Brother Jason Nadi, you want to give your name, your slave name?
Yeah, grudgingly. Kevin McCoy is my slave name, and our joint practice is called Work Play. You can just look us up on Instagram. You'll see what we talk about there.
Okay.
Yep, and my name is Danielle McCoy.
Okay, all right. All righty, well, look, you guys have been a part of this ministry for some time, and I want to know why. What do you think is different about this? You know, everybody's going to give accolades to their ministry, but this ministry has been totally different. And so I want you to share with people. Let the wife go first. Like she's about ready to say something then. So let her go ahead and say, why do you follow this ministry?
Well, the reason that I wanted to go first, if that's okay
No,
with you,
go ahead. You got it.
is because I was a part of this ministry before my husband joined the ministry, and that's the only reason I wanted to just state that. So I've been a part of Royal Ministry for over 20 plus years at this point, since I was in my teens. Some of the things that I've seen within this ministry are people being healed. At one point, there was a church location that we had, and at that location, I remember an elderly woman that came in. She came in with the aid of someone that, like a collar ride type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. And she was on a walker. Now, as a teenager, you hear about these things, but maybe you have never seen them in your life, or people talk about, get this prayer cloth or this healing oil, right? In this particular instance, when this woman came in, she joined our service this particular Sunday, and our minister, Prophet Jones, at the time, laid hands over this woman, prayed over this woman, and made her start walking without the walker. And so it was then and there are many other things we'll talk about, where I really saw the power of God working and being in this space, and how someone that was unable to stand upright, to walk without the aid of a walker, was able to put that walker to the side and be able to walk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because of the tremendous healing power that Prophet Jonathan has. And so by the end of that service, when the caller ride or whatever that came to pick her up, she basically pointed to her walker, like, you can go pick that up, because she was able to walk out on her own and get onto that bus. And that was something that was so mind-blowing, because I had never seen anything like that in my life. And there are going to be countless other things that I'll think of and that we'll bring up. But I just wanted to bring that to light first, because to me, that was one of the most powerful things I'd ever seen with the power of healing.
Oh, and you were how old at that time?
High school, so 16, maybe 17.
So you've seen stuff, you heard about stuff like that on TV, but you saw it yourself.
Yeah, you see things maybe on Sunday morning ministry shows, but I've never, back then it seemed very performative when you watched it on television, where someone would touch somebody and they would fall out. But that's not the same as healing somebody of an ailment that they have. And to be able to see someone that clearly needed help, and we went to her aid to help her get situated and sit down and things like that when she first came. So there was no act. There was no performance. It wasn't someone that wanted to be like Prophet Jonathan was not holier than thou. This is a regular, very humble and down the earth person, but has been blessed and gifted with so many powerful gifts that, like I said, when you see him on TV, you're just like, that can't be real. And then you see it in person, you're just mind blown and just it was so profound at that time.
Wonderful. Okay. What about you, Brother Jason Noddy?
Can I keep it 100?
100.
Okay, so first things first. When I met Prophet Jones Tajao, I remember he called me to help a young lady, an elderly lady over here in East St. Louis. And I said, yeah, no problem, man. You know, she had a hard time, you know, straightening up her yard or whatnot. So I went over there to assist him, help him clean it up. And, you know, the brother, his tank was a little low, but he didn't care. You know, he's like, hey, I got to go help this woman. This is my priority. And I was so touched by that this man was going out of his way to help this elderly woman, which she had people that lived next door to her that could have helped, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. And I think about the preachers in the churches that I grew up with. You know, they didn't talk to you beyond the service. Right. After the service was over, that was it.
Right.
You didn't hear from them. They never checked in. And here this man is going over to this woman's house, right, to help her go out of his way. You have to honor that. Also, we were given these prayers. So there's a prayer called the Land Return Prayer, which it is stating basically to give land back to Black and Native indigenous people. Mm-hmm. Now, this was given to us in 2020. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, I grew up in the Baptist church. The Baptist church taught you to turn the other cheek. I don't believe in that. I think that's weak. Mm-hmm. Prophet Jones Jahu does not teach that. He teaches strength. Mm-hmm. We don't sit here and pray. You hear so many times how many Black people have been murdered by white supremacists, by police, by their own Black people. Mm-hmm. And what do they get on TV and say? Oh, I want to pray for them, you know, that forgive them for what they have done. They don't know any better. Yes, they do, because they did it. And they continue to do it. But we continue saying the same BS prayers, and they seem to be thriving because of that. These prayers are not that.
Right.
These prayers are designed to attack the same people that are attacking us. So here's this land return prayer that was given prophetically to this man. All we have to do is be obedient and say it. And what did we just find out? My wife sent me something, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah.
Do you have the prayer book? Do you want to read that prayer?
Yeah.
I'll let them keep talking.
Go ahead.
Just yesterday, my wife sent me something on Instagram. In California, there's a place called Manhattan Beach. It was owned by this Black couple. Their names were the Bruces. And it was taken away from them through eminent domain. They basically bought a large parcel of beachfront property for Black people. That was the sole purpose. The Ku Klux Klan came in, cross burnings, all sorts of racial terror to push them out. And then it was seized and given back to LA County. Just April 9th. Just April 9th. They made a motion to give it back to the Bruce family. Now listen, I have grown up around the church. I have never heard any prayers spoken of this sort, nor have I seen proof of the prayers working. It's just that simple. We ain't just talking frivolous. There's actual proof. You see the proof. I had never heard about that.
Yeah, you know, I keep telling everybody, this is not a faith-based ministry. We have plenty of faith, but we are a fact and a proof-based ministry. Yeah. You know, so what I'd like for you to do, Sister Urabella, I'd like for you to let the people hear what one of our 14 prayers is like.
Yeah, so we have the land return prayer given to Prophet Jones Jahu. As my husband said, it was on August 10th in 2020. Lord, I pray that white people will be forced to give land to Black people and Native people in greater amounts than they have stolen. In addition, I pray that you will punish white businessmen who have denied Black people their due equity from financial gains made from stolen or denied lands, which rightfully should be owned by Black people.
There it is.
Wow.
Now, what would make a man sit down? There's no way that this man would sit down and craft this. He doesn't take ownership. No. All he says is this comes from the God. This was what was spoken to me. And all we have to do is say the prayers. While everybody's praying, please forgive them. This is saying, no. They don't get off that easy. Right. Destroy the people that did it and reverse what was done. And here we see it. 2020.
And it's not just saying the prayers, but putting the feeling in there as well.
There you go.
You know, yeah, we can say whatever prayer that is out there and just say it really quickly like we're rehearsing the lines or looking at a grocery list. But you're putting the feeling, you're putting that emotion behind the words that you're saying. You're closing your eyes and you're visualizing the words that you're saying. You're visualizing, you know, what is being read in the prayers so that you can see these things happen. And we've seen them happen time and time again. And this is just one of the most recent, explanations or discoveries that we found out of in the last couple days.
They're countless.
Okay, so now we have another prayer that I was told that we should share it with people. It's called the desertion prayer. How about you reading that one, Brother Jason Noddy?
Sure.
Here it is.
Because give them the date when that prayer was given.
The desertion prayer given to Prophet John Tajau on September 13th, 2017. I pray that white people will begin to feel the fear and the anger of the black God against them and begin to give money, land, vehicles, and special favor to black people and black causes. I pray that the black gene that is in white people will begin to move within them and make them begin to fight white supremacy, racism, and everything that is being used against black people to further enslave, hurt, humiliate, divide, economically deprive, or kill them. I pray that there be a mass exodus of white people who begin to fight for black justice, black freedom, and black equality, openly and defiantly, causing racist white people to fear and back down. I pray that a mass number of white men, women, boys, and girls will begin to desert the principles of white supremacy and racism and embrace black people with a fervent desire to help them move forward towards supremacy. I've been told that if you pray this prayer daily, you begin to see these things happen before your eyes. Your prayers will make these spoken words materialize. I've also been told that the reason that you don't hear, nor have ever heard anyone pray the words that are in this prayer, is because the white people who control the world know that the power to defeat them is not in physical action, but in the power of the mind of the righteous. This is why everything has been designed to keep you from thinking, as the words of this prayer have outlined. I'm grateful to God Almighty for this revelation. Share this prayer with others. Prophet John Tajau.
So what was the date of that prayer?
September 13, 2017.
When did Black Lives Matter start?
2014, if I'm not mistaken. It was around the time when Trayvon Martin was gunned down by George Zimmerman. And then, or maybe it was right before 2014, because that was Michael Brown Jr. in Ferguson. That was like August.
I think that was a kickoff.
So now, we've said that prayer thousands of times. These are called imprecatory prayers, people.
Right.
Prayers that, believe me, I never thought of ever in my life of making up a prayer. I heard these prayers, I got a pen and paper, and I wrote this stuff down. They're imprecatory prayers like King David prayed. Let me ask you something else. What else is it you like about this ministry?
What can I say?
Well, go ahead. Well, one of the things I was going to say is that, I grew up just really briefly, like in Catholic churches with my dad, 45 minutes and you're done. You're going home, right? In this ministry, you're also taught survival and a lot of basic instincts that Black people are not being taught anymore. We are moving so far away from what our grandparents and great-grandparents used to do. We know that they used to hunt, fish, farm the land, protect their families to the death. And now people don't even want to sit on the porch because of mosquitoes, right?
Black people.
Black people, thank you, to be specific. Black people, when we go out into nature, a lot of times we are the only Black people that are out there. We do not see anyone else that looks like us, ever. So in this ministry, you're taught the knowledge behind being a firearms owner and the importance of protecting yourself, protecting your family and your household. Like you said, the laws that surround that, so that we each have our concealed carry license for our state and know where we can carry legally. And then we're also taught some of the things like fishing. My husband goes out with Prophet Jarlington, some other Black gentlemen, and they go hunting. And these are survival things that you need, because when the grocery stores close, and they will close.
What's the Reverend going to do?
What are you going to do? Is Reverend even going to answer? Is he going to have a loaf of bread to give you?
Does Reverend know how to put a worm on a hook?
Exactly. Do you know how to bake your own bread? Do you know how to grow your produce? I mean, behind us, I know that there's a few starters that are back there, but we have more things that are already outside that are growing. Do you know how to till that land? I mean, there are so many things that are not taught other than just giving for the building fund.
So this is a part of the royal ministry teaching.
Absolutely. This is part of our teachings when it comes to getting out there, and not just getting out there in your flip-flops.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
What kind of boots are you wearing?
Can't go out there in no Jordans.
Okay,
You know what I'm
exactly. You can't go out there in your.
Ones ain't gonna help you.
You cannot do that. You cannot. You can't go out there in your UGG boots with the fur and things like that. You need to have the proper attire when you are going out into the wilderness. And
so you're
taught
that in this ministry and under this teaching.
Yep.
You have gotten what are some of the stuff that you guys have gotten to prepare yourself with?
Snake boots. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
From the bottom.
Let's start from the bottom.
And wool socks.
How many people, when we go out in the woods, they go out with tennis shoes? Okay, when it start getting warm, snakes come out. Mm-hmm. How are you going to protect yourself from snakes when they bite?
Right.
So there are boots designs. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to watch where you step. What about the type of pants? Rip stop. So they have limbs.
But you know, the Reverend Church with the average church, all they do pretty much is go to Walmart and you know, so they don't need Uggs are fine.
But you know what's crazy is that you can find some things at Walmart.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
you
true.
know, but you have to know to go to that camping and outdoor section.
Exactly.
You know, you may not find you're not going to find snake boots, you know, there, but there are some things. What's the thing with the water? So that way.
So now, a part of your teaching in Royal Ministry, you have been given admonition to get a way of filtering your own water, even, huh?
Yep.
So what do you guys do for that?
We have a portable life straw.
Yeah, that's
we have another filtration device.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even drink the tap water. That's another thing. I'll make it brief. It goes beyond just, you know, protecting your family, even your body. Mm-hmm. He teaches you what to eat and what not to eat. Mm-hmm. The toxins that are in your everyday foods, the toxins that's in your drinking water. No reverend's talking about that.
Hey, let's jump subject for a moment. This is a situation where in the United States, black people are openly being attacked. Mm-hmm. Even those that are in church. Now, your wife mentions that she has her concealed carry license, and you got your concealed carry license, you qualified, and so forth. You've done what you need to do. Mm-hmm. How do you feel now that you can protect your family? Do you feel that you would ever want to be without your firearm? Think about Dylan Roof, who came into the church, prayed with the people, and then just started killing. I heard the other day, the recording, the dispatcher's recording, where the old lady was crying and screaming, "Please save me, this man has killed pastor and killed other folks," and he's still in the building, right? Well, you're teaching, are you taught to turn the other cheek? Are you taught to pray? Are you taught to defend yourself? What's the teachings of Royal Ministry when it comes to defending yourself?
Defend. We don't start any trouble, but we certainly not going to take any mess. And that's how black folks should be.
All people. It's
all
natural.
All people should do that.
Yeah.
And everybody else does it.
Nature does it.
An eye for an eye.
You can't go out in the woods and mess with a cub and expect not for the parents not to do anything. They're going to trip.
Brother, I saw, let me interject something. I've got to interject this. I saw a video of a cobra that came into a chicken's coop, and the little chicks was in there. And he actually, that hen got on the offense because she knew that it was going to consume her and her chicks. It bit the doggone hen, okay? But that hen pecked that cobra's eyes out. Do you hear me?
Wow.
The chicken fought back to save its own. And our children are being abducted. They're being hurt by some of us in the community, and we sit back and we do nothing. It's not natural, and nobody else does it.
That's laughable. Even the damn chicken will fight back.
Yeah.
What has happened to us?
When
chicken.
we get bit and just lay there and
sit
die.
there and look.
All right. Now let's jump to another subject. You've got a book in front of your hands, and part of it is one of the prayers. Just give them the category of the prayers that's in this imprecatory prayer book that they can get. Well, let's just read. Just open it up. And
we have our daily prayer. That is one of the prayers that came to Prophet John in 1994.
Okay.
We have affirmations that we say daily, dating back to 1999 and 2010. And then some of the more recent prayers that we have is a restoration prayer to, restore black culture, and that God will destroy some of these white privilege in America. My husband read the desertion prayer a moment ago. We have a disaster prayer, again in 2017. The disaster will befall upon these people that we just said, that are killing us, torturing us, abusing, raping Black and needy people.
Needy meaning not just Black people. You praying that anybody doing anything torturous to anybody
Yes.
will be dealt with the wrath of
Yes.
God. Go ahead.
Absolutely. We have the freedom prayer, and that's the one that's talking about the release of prisoners that have been unjustly incarcerated. That way, when they get back into their community, that they have a better
frame of mind.
Yep, a better mindset they had before being incarcerated.
And that's been happening all over the United States. I mean, I won't get into it right now, but that's been happening. Go ahead.
Yeah, to bring justice and fairness to the world. We have a bunker and subterranean destruction prayer. Now we're getting into some prayers that came in 2018, where we have people that are building these survival construction communities in hopes of not being victim to what they see, and that these survival construction communities will be destroyed. Because you can't just go underground and hide from everybody.
You can cause all this
exactly,
trouble.
and expect to emerge when it's all over.
God knows.
And then moving into 2019, we have our betrayal prayer. That way, if anybody that wants to betray the plans, agendas, anything that's against the planet, animals, and we see that all the time with chemtrails, with people doing scientific experiments and global warming, all these things. We have our Black gang unification prayer. You want to speak on that one?
Yeah, that's just unifying the gangs, getting them all on the same page to protect their communities.
Absolutely.
No one prays that. I've never heard that before.
We have a deceitful traitor prayer. It's funny because you see these people out here that when we say all kinfolk, all skin folk and kinfolk.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk so long.
Scoot over a little closer to your wife there.
I don't mean to interject, but this is important. And the reason being is because a lot of our own people have sold us out.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we have to deal with them first before we start pointing the finger, because some of us are out of pocket. If you think about Ernest Withers, he was a well-known civil rights photographer, but he was an informant. There was an informant working under Fred Hampton. So here's a prayer that's speaking to those people.
What is the prayer praying? Go ahead, let's hear a part of that prayer.
Yeah. Lord, we pray that you will kill off all Black people who allow themselves to be used in the unjust and unfair torture, punishment, imprisonment, prosecution, and execution of innocent Black people and those persons who attempt to do such injustice.
Okay, you stop right there. Okay.
We have some quick prayers that we say, that we focus on. Deceitful media prayer, because there's a lot of untruths that are out there that are being delivered by these media houses that need to be exposed and closed. A lot of propaganda and framing. The family lie, because a lot of Black people have been told that they should live their lives a different way than how we should. Get back to that, and we need to get back to the tribal living styles. We discussed the land return prayer a moment ago. And then we have another quick prayer to destroy any of the strongholds of evil men and evil women. So,
all right.
These are our imprecatory prayers. These are not ones that anybody could just sit down and think of.
So being a part of this ministry makes you feel good that you're praying prayers that make sense. You know,
Yes.
A lot of times when we hear, things happen to people, the preacher will be the first one to jump up and say, well, God bless him, the man didn't know what he was doing and so forth, and save him. King David didn't pray like that. What are some of King David's words?
King David said to shatter the teeth in their mouth.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. He wasn't playing.
All right, now let's get back to something else here. We live in a real serious time, and I'm going to thank you all for your interview.
Of course.
As people begin to consider making a choice of following Raw Ministry teaching, what really, if you can summarize, what has it done for you? What about the prophecies? You guys have set up times, because you graduated from WashU, you got your master's degree. Okay. Sister Danielle, you come from a very intelligent family. Your grandfather was obstetrician, gynecologist, part of a hospital named after him. You're highly intelligent yourself. So answer my question. Why would you follow this ministry? What about the prophecies that you've seen? People are looking back 2,000 years ago, talking about prophecies back then. And then there's people that are prophesying today, and it's like flip of the coin. Oh, yeah, that happened. We won't talk about the ones that didn't. In fact, I heard one of our top martial artists, I won't call his name, he was saying, he and another guy was saying that prophecies a lot of times are like a flip of the coin, but we don't have flip of the coin prophecy. You've been around me 20-some years. Give some of the accuracy of what you've seen. I know it's hard to do it in a short period of time.
I will say, okay.
Because you used to have people to come to me.
Yeah. I'll speak on this really briefly. September 2001, right? September 11th. He spoke about September 11th. I was a senior in high school at that time, and it was shortly before the planes that flew into the Twin Towers. Prophet Jaunta was speaking to a man that worked or owned a gas station near where we had a church building, and told him that he had a vision of kamikaze-styled planes that were crashing into a building. And again, I'm not all the best on dates, but I know like within a week, within 7 days, 9/11 happened, and we all watched from our homes as kamikaze-style planes crashed into the Twin Towers in New York City.
What about your husband? You were told, I remember you asking me when you were a young girl, you're asking me about your husband. What about your husband?
Oh, man, it was right across the street from where we live right now, actually. I stood at the bottom of your staircase getting ready to babysit your son. And I said, so I met this guy in school, and for those that are watching, I've come to him on different failed attempts at a relationship. And I'm like, I'll just do this last one, and that's it, Lord. And so I asked him, and I didn't even show him a picture. I think we just had flip phones back then, so long ago. But I'll make it quick. So I'm standing at the bottom of a staircase. Prophet Jones is upstairs. He and his wife are getting ready to leave. And I tell him about this guy that I met in school, and he said, well, what's his name? Someone's trying to get ready and leave. They're not trying to be listening to you. You trying to sneak in try to get a prophecy. And I tell him, I said, well, his name's Kevin McCoy. And he stops and he says, well, one thing I can tell you is that he'll never lie to you. And so somebody may think of that and be like, now what is that supposed to mean? However, I was talking to a gentleman that enjoyed coming to the east side with his friends and coming to some of the nightlife that's over here.
That's a good word.
However, he was honest with me back then about things that he got into, things that he did, the people that he rolled with, and what he liked and what he didn't like. And so when I actually sat down and thought about it, I said, this man has told me the truth. He's not hiding anything from me because he didn't do that.
So the spoken word about the qualities of your husband, just right off the bat, just that quickly, were true. What about, real quickly, as we close, what about you set up in a meeting, then I'm going to get to Brother Jason out. You set up a meeting for me to come and talk to people. I think both of you did over there on South Jefferson. What happened over there?
I set up for anybody that wanted to come to have a prophetic session with Prophet Jaunta. Do you remember any of the details from some of the people? I know one woman said that, Prophet Jaunta told her that...
well, you don't have to get into details. Let's get into...
Well...
About how many people did I sit in front of?
It was probably half a dozen people, maybe.
Okay, and when they left out, what were their comments about my words to them?
Everybody was smiling from ear to ear because the things that they had in their heart, things they had been thinking about, things that maybe they were about to make moves on, you prophetically spoke to them and they were coming to pass. It was reiterating maybe some of the ideas that they hadn't moved on yet, or the properties or the areas that they wanted to be in. So
were they surprised?
Quite surprised.
Brother Jason nodded.
I never heard anything like that.
All right, brother. As we close, we got a lot of young brothers out here that don't follow any kind of ministry at all. Now, you've toughed it out with me in the woods. We've been out in some rough situations. What would you say to the brothers that really want to be around something real and they don't quite feel connected to what's happening anywhere else? They're trying to find out where they might fit in.
This is a brother that's not only down to earth. You know, they say iron sharpens iron. This is a brother that is as tough as I have ever seen. The man does not back down, and I respect that. He didn't back down with his other occupations. He don't back down from anything, and that's something I respect. We don't have a person to lead people like that, and that's why I gravitate. I gravitate to strength. This man can get death threats. People could talk this way, sideways, and he's still gonna stand his ground. And that's the type of leadership I needed. I needed someone with strength. I couldn't relate to these other preachers that's too scared to go in the neighborhood. Look, my church was over there on Goodfellow, Emma and Mimica. Okay, there's a set over there. I remember because some of the ushers were Crips. Okay, but the pastor never even talked to the people down the street. He didn't talk to them. He didn't even look their way. This man to go in the areas and talk to the people for no reason because he felt led to. You have to admire strength like that, and that's a real brother. So I relate to that.
Can I say one more thing really quickly about the relationship, and I'll wrap it up and make it fast?
Yeah.
When I was 15 years old, I remember writing down a prophecy that Prophet Jones gave me and said that my husband and Prophet Jones would be parallel in the things that they do.
You ain't lying.
Now, I had not met Kevin at that time, and this is a prophecy I just held on to, and I think I had it on a napkin at that time.
We found it.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up really quickly, because we found it back in like 2014 or 2013. And I was like, Kevin, you've got to read this. And I was like, if this is not spot on about the things that you all do, how strong you all are, what you all stand for, what you won't back down from. And these two gentlemen are such parallels. So I got that prophecy as a teenager, not knowing who I would marry. Hadn't started dating this one until about 4 years later, and had no idea if this would even be my husband. So I just wanted to point that out.
That blew me away. I'm going to be honest. Because in my family, people don't talk. They don't speak up. They don't tell the truth. So I lacked that. I didn't have that, you know, from my father, from uncles, you know, none of that. So a man that's willing to take me out in the woods and show me how to hunt, show me how to fish, you know, teach me spiritual things, teach me to listen to my intuitive self. No one did that. And then he would not back down no matter what the challenge was. I mean, hell, that was enough for me. And then we saw that. I said, oh, come on, man.
Well, the reason is because you also are so strong, see. And I can say that I have, you know, you've gone with me and I've talked to a lot of people and they say, yeah, you know, African church folks, so people in the Muslim community. But this brother aspires for greatness and he also looks for truth and proof. And because of that, and he's tough as he can be. I remember as I closed, you know, a lot of you brothers, you got to reconnect with nature. I remember one time we went out on a deer hunt. We were out at night and we heard something growling in the woods, really seriously. Now, there's some stuff out there that'll make the guy with the AK-47 drop his AK and his drawers and everything else and get out the woods because, you know, you have to really stand your ground.